Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Lunch and Learn webinar about the member portal. Just because it's just 12 o'clock, I'm going to give just a couple of minutes for people to just kind of file in here because I know everybody's just trying to get here. So we're going to get started in a little bit, in a couple minutes, but there's going to be a lot of, there'll be a lot of time today, so I'm not too concerned about that. But there's a couple things I do want to go over with you guys real quick. This webinar is being recorded through this Teams meeting. So if you guys have to log off and you guys want to need to take care of something, this will be uploaded later on to our YouTube channel. Currently, everybody in the chat here, all your mics are muted. So I want to try and make this as interactive as possible. So feel free to turn on your webcams if you want. If you want to ask a question, I love questions, so feel free to ask any question that you may have. You can do it two ways. So you can throw it in the chat, type it in, or if you want to ask a question verbally, just use the raise your hand function right there at the top, the little emote, and then I will get your name and I'll be able to unmute your mic, and then you'll be able to ask your question. So there's a couple ways for that. So, but yeah, by all means, ask any questions. So I'm going to go through my little presentation that I have set for you guys about the member portal. The slide deck I have is like literally 3 slides. It's not really that long, but I'm going to give you guys like a demonstration of how the portal works. Then we'll have a Q&A after. But because of the way that this webinar is today, if you have questions, just feel free to ask. I don't mind stopping and answering any questions that you guys do have. All right, so I'm going to give it about another minute before I get started because I know that there's some people that are probably straggling in here because I know with that. But I hope that everybody is able to, let's see here. Let me look at my settings really quickly. Yeah, I'm assuming that everybody can hear me pretty well. So if you guys want to give me a thumbs up in the chat or like the email thing, that would be great. Hopefully this will be the last time that I have to use Microsoft Teams, an actual Teams meeting to do these webinars. Awesome, thank you. I'm hoping this will be the last time I get to use the Microsoft Teams meeting to do these webinars, and I'll be able to use the Teams, our Teams meeting, and I'll be able to use the Teams webinar function. So, okay. I'll give it one more minute, and then I will get started on that. Okay. Okay. So make sure I have the other thing up and running for you guys too. So after that's over, we will be good. Okay. So love the webinars and versatility to hear recordings of Q&A live. Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm actually looking forward to doing the webinar function as well, because you guys will be able to do that as well. And I feel it'll be a little bit more interactive and everything. I've been waiting for this release to come out, so really excited to test that out later today. And then I should be able to follow suit with the rest, with my rest of my webinars. Oh boy, that is a loaded question. That is an absolutely loaded question. I'm going to look at that. I will get to that after the presentation and everything, because since that's not what we're talking about today, I will see if I can get to that after. Okay, so let me get started. Once again, welcome guys. Thank you all for being here this afternoon for the Lunch and Learn webinar about the FCERA Member Portal. My name is Jared Wong. I'm the communications analyst with FCERA, the face of FCERA for these webinars. So I'm happy that you guys are here. This is the first webinar I'm doing about our member portal, which is a great tool to help you guys plan for your retirement. So I have a couple slides here in this slide deck to kind of cover with you guys. And then after I get through this, I'm going to give you guys a live demonstration of the member portal, how to use it, and things to look at when you're planning. So things I have for the agenda, FCERA Member Portal, what is it, how to register, Why should you use the portal? And then finally, I'm going to end with the live demonstration. Okay, so the FCERA Member Portal. Our portal allows you to log in anytime that you want, 24 hours a day, 365. It will allow you to look at your current retirement information. So some of the things that you can look at when you utilize our member portal is checking the current beneficiary, contribution balance, um, as well as contributions per pay period. And we're going to cover, I'm going to show you guys all this, how this all works. You could view available service credit that you can purchase. And then the more important one is you can run estimated monthly benefit amounts. So it answers the age-old question of, hey, what's my retirement benefit looking like? So all that can be done in the member portal. It's very easy to use, very user-friendly. So I recommend everybody. There are some people that signed up for this webinar that are not enrolled or have not registered an account for the member portal. So how do you go about doing that? Well, you need to register for an account on our website, but in order to complete this registration, you will need a unique identifier. This was sent out to you guys a few years back if you've been a county employee for a while, or a FCERA member for a while, I should say. But if you're a newer hire within the last, like I would say 3 years, you would have gotten a letter from us within a couple months after you've been hired. That has that unique identifier on it. But that's okay if you can't find it or you don't know what it is. There's 2 ways that you can obtain that number to help you sign up for a member portal account. The first one is you can email FCERA at fresnocountyca.gov with your work email, not a personal email address. So with your county email, or one of our other plan sponsors. I'm going to say county a lot in this presentation because the majority of you in this call are county employees. Or you could call our office at 457-0681, and then, we just ask you a couple of security questions and stuff, and we get that number to you so you can help register for the portal. So how would you go about finding this? You just go to our website here. This is our homepage of our website, FresnoCountyRetirement.org. At the top right there, next to the magnifying glass, you guys will see the member portal logo or the member portal wording. So you're just going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take you to a login screen. That login screen will then have you register, give you the option to register. So you want to click on register and register your account with a personal email address. That's also going to be the screen where after you've registered for an account, you are going to log in as well. So pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. So why should you use the portal? Well, this is honestly the best tool that we could provide you to help you plan for your FCERA retirement benefit. Now, this is only relating to your FCERA benefit. So I've had some questions already asking like, hey, could I look at my Social Security, my deferred comp from Nationwide through this or so forth? No, this is only relating to your FCERA benefit. So if you want to go, let's say, for example, county employees want to look at the deferred compensation information, go to the Nationwide 457 site that we have for county employees. It's fresno457.com. And so forth. Social Security is also a separate entity as well. But this is the best way to kind of keep up to date and look what's your FCERA retirement is going to look like when you're ready to retire. So you can look at your information anytime, especially it's important that you can run estimated monthly benefit amounts to kind of see where you're at different stages of your career. This also, logging into the portal may answer some of your questions that you have. A lot of the general questions that we do get through email or office, or sometimes, I get phone calls from people. A lot of those questions can be answered through the portal as well by just looking through it. And you guys will see what I'm talking about when I do the live demonstration portion of this. Okay. So I told you guys this was really short. Really short, my slide deck. So I have a live demonstration that I'm going to be showing you guys right now. Before I do that, I always put this in my webinars. This is our contact information. If you guys don't have this by now, you can contact our office with any questions. We're here to help you. You guys can do it by phone. You can email us. We'll be happy to help. There's our address, 7772 North Palm Avenue. Office is open from 9 to 12 and 1 to 5. You can visit our website at fresnocountyretirement.org. And then if you're interested in retiring, I always say this in the webinars too, if you have a retirement date that you're planning to retire, once you have that date picked out, you can call our office 90 days prior to setting an appointment with a retirement specialist. We are currently only making appointments with members that are signing a retirement application. We are not seeing appointments for anything else at the moment. Okay, so enough about all that, right? You guys came to see the live demonstration, right? So I'm going to stop presenting this slide deck here, and then I will show you guys here. So you guys should be able to see my screen here. So you guys should be able to see my screen. And let me see here. Let me get one more thing up here. If you guys can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up or something like that. So you guys should be able to see the member portal right here. Now, this is what the member portal looks like when you guys are logged in. Awesome. I see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So a couple of disclaimers about this before I kind of get into this live demonstration. All the numbers that you see here are fictitious. So don't see these numbers and be like, oh my gosh, is this what I'm expecting? No. These are fictitious numbers. So bear with me on that. These are fictitious numbers. These are just for demonstration purposes. So I have to throw that out there so when you log into the portal, this is your home screen. This is what you're going to see right here. You're going to see welcome to the member portal. And then you have all these options here on the left side. So you have personal contact information, beneficiaries, the employment tab, calculations, change profile, and contact us. You will not see this bottom portion right here. Okay. So if we look at the first thing here, this personal contact screen. So if you open this personal contact screen, this is always a good thing to check in the member portal as well, because this is going to show you what the most current information that we have from you as far as mailing address, phone number, and birth date, stuff like that. So as current active employees, your mailing address should always be correct because we get that import from the County of Fresno and the other plan sponsors. The only time that you would be concerned about if your mailing address may be different is that if you have not changed, if you have left employment and then you've changed it, at that point, if you left employment, we do not, we can't get that information from you. So you'll have to change that address right there. So that's where you see this mailing address. And then if you want to make sure that you have contact numbers for you on here as well, you can look at that as well and see what we have in the system for you. So this is what I was talking about earlier, that each page has different help questions that may or may not help answer some of the questions that you have. So my name or address is incorrect. How do I change this information? So if you just click on this, it brings a drop-down menu. So then it says, if you're an active member currently employed with the county courts or other FCERA employer, and are not receiving a benefit of any kind, your name and address are submitted to FCERA by your employer each pay period with your wage and service information. As long as your change has been submitted to your personnel and payroll department, your record of FCERA will be updated. So each page has all these little drop-down menus and questions that are like answers to some of these questions that may be asked that are by members, or the more frequently asked questions, I should say, and it provides an answer for you. So here, these are just simple little questions, right? Or answers to these questions that are there. So this is just the personal contact page right here. Okay, so now we're going to get into the beneficiaries tab here, the next portion here. So this here is important for a couple of reasons. So this screen here displays who we have as your beneficiary as your beneficiaries. The most important thing is to make sure that these are up to date to what you want listed, because if something were to happen to you and there's any monies to be paid out of your account, we come here to we look at our records to see who your beneficiary is, and if there's any monies to be paid out, we pay it out who is listed there. So it's very important to make sure that you have these updated here, and they're always and this is a great thing to check every once in a while to see who we have on file for you. Now, if you click here, how do I make a change to my beneficiary? So you click this here, it makes a drop-down menu, and then there's hyperlinks in here as well that will take you to different forms and stuff on our website. So you can actually click on that form, the beneficiary designation form, and it will take you to our website and to the actual beneficiary designation form for you to complete and submit to our office to make that change of beneficiary. So this is very important to kind of look at just to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. And then it gives a couple of the other informations here about other questions like what do your other beneficiary types mean and stuff. But more importantly, this just shows who we have listed for you. So if you need to make changes, you can make changes by submitting a form. So give me 1 second here. I got a question from Laura. Okay, Laura, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you can ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Just real quick, what if you guys spelled my daughter's name wrong? So I don't really want to change it. I just want you guys to fix
that's
it.
a great.
Do I have to fill out a form?
No, actually, that's a fantastic question. So if there's just a misspelling maybe on our part, all you need to do is just send us an email and just say, hey, there's a misspelling with this, or if like an address changed. But so that's a great point that you brought up. So if there is an address change or the name is spelled wrong, but the beneficiary is not changing, you're not changing the beneficiary, but you're just updating the information, you can call our office or send us an email to FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, and we can change that for you. So you do not have to fill out a brand new form. Fantastic question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's take a look here. All right, so that's the beneficiary portion. Really self-explanatory here. So now we're going to get into more of the calculations and looking at your actual information. So the next tab here you guys should see as active employees is an employment tab. When you click on the employment tab, it's going to drop down for a menu of different options. So it will say like employment summary, credited in eligibility service, service not credited, and contributions. Okay. So if I click on employment summary, this is where you're going to see your information as far as what's your current status, active employee, what tier that you're in. This is another good one for people not sure what tier that they are in. They can find this out in the member portal under employment summary. So you can see what tier you are when you became a member of FCERA, what's your FCERA entry date right there, and the total amount of years of service that you have accrued that we have in the system as of the last pay period that has been imported. Most of the time, these years of service are correct. There may be sometimes, depending on how long you've been a county employee or an employee with your plan sponsor, there may be some years of service may have to be audited and stuff like that, but that's very rare. But so that shows there what your estimated years of service are right there, along with your contribution bucket right here of what you have in the system as an active employee up to the last pay period that we have imported in our system. But there's actually another screen that you can look at this contribution portion in more detail, which I'm going to cover in just a second. So that's the employment summary right there. You can also see what your employee history is right there and stuff like that. Okay. Credited eligibility service. So if you look at the accredited and eligibility service, this screen here tells you the difference. This gives you the summary of your service credit used to determine retirement eligibility to help calculate what your potential lifetime benefit is. So this here, service totals, just shows your eligibility for retirement, your service detail, and your total services used to calculate your benefit. So this is just a screen to show you how many years that we have accounted for you in the system. On the next portion here, services not credited. So this screen here will show you your services that are not credited that may be able to be purchased through a buyback or service credit purchase. So for example, in this example dummy here, this prior service purchased is shows that this member has not purchased their new hire period, which is their first pay period of permanent employment. So it shows the date range, and then it also shows the amount of service credit that is eligible to purchase. But we're going to cover that in a little bit more because there's another screen that you can see this information as well. And then finally, under the employment tab here, if you look at contributions, this is where you can look at a bunch of different things for your contributions. So there's 3 options that you can look at on the contribution screen. Your member contribution balance. So this will show the total amount of contributions that you have in the system up until the last pay period that we have imported. We have your member contribution screen here. where you can run a data range. So you can actually see how much contributions you put in for a certain amount of time. So in all these drop-down menus here, you can mess with that. So you can do current date, data entered by me, data membership, data entered by me. So let's say I did data membership, and then I wanted to do another date of, let's say, 12/31/2020, for example. So when I put that date in there, I can hit retrieve contribution data. Boom. It'll show me right here the pre-tax contributions and all that stuff. And then here as well, this contribution balance estimate. So if you click on here, this will open a screen and it will produce a document here that will show you what your contribution balance is for the time that you have generated right there. So this is a good estimate that you can use from the member portal to kind of see what you're looking at. And then finally here down at the bottom, this is the calculated expected contributions amount. So this amount that you see over here is the amount that you can see if what you should be contributing per pay period. So what you see here at the portal, this number here, contributions at current rate, that should be the number that you see matching your pay stub. So it's always good to check that out and make sure that they equal. So that's the contributions section right there. So that's the whole employment tab. Very easy to navigate, very self-explanatory of looking at that information right there. So finally, this is the last portion of the portal here, but probably the one that gets the most use of is the calculations tab here. So this is where you can run calculation benefits for your retirement and then also see what potentially your service credit purchases will cost if you have any available to purchase. So I'm going to cover that portion first. So if you click here under calculations, it brings you another drop-down screen to retirement benefit and service purchase. If you click service purchase, this screen will display all the available service that you can purchase. And it'll show you the time frame of what those service purchases are, or the service credit is. Also, it will show you the cost of that, the estimated cost. So if you are interested in purchasing this time, you can fill out a request form and send that to our office. Now, keep in mind, it also says here in the portal, any amount shown here is an estimate. Any purchase cost or service credit amount shown here is based on information reported by your employer, has not been verified by FCERA. So after our benefits support team does all the calculation or does the research, while that number in the portal is pretty good, there's always a possibility it can change. So just keep that in mind. So really easy, really self-explanatory to look at that portion. Now, retirement benefit. This is the one that is going to get the most usage out of everyone here. So if you click on the retirement benefit screen, you're going to get this retirement benefit estimate. Now, this is where you can run a retirement benefit estimate for different various dates of retirement that you choose. So in this example here, if you look under the first thing you want to do is you look under select calculation type. Now, there's a bunch of different options that you can select. The first one is earliest retirement date. You could select a specific retirement date, or you could specify a benefit amount, meaning that you can put in, say, okay, what do I need to do to earn $2,000 a month from FCERA? So you can plug that in and see what that looks like. Over here is the beneficiary section. So this is where you should see your beneficiaries that you have listed in your file. These beneficiaries then can be altered. So for the calculation, because they're estimates. So the first one here I have is a spouse. The second one is not. Now, the spouse is an eligible beneficiary for a few of our options where they can receive a continuing benefit if the member passes away. If you want to look at that, you can put that in. But if you want to see what your benefit looks like without having an eligible spouse and just another beneficiary, you could simply uncheck the box here and then check the other one. Whatever ones you have checked, that's what the calculation is going to, that's what the calculation for the continuance and stuff is going to be displaying. So before I get into that, I do have a couple of questions here. Okay, so I do see a couple questions in the chat, and then I see someone raise their hand. So let me, let me see what we have here. All right, give me one moment here. All right, so I'm going to get to the raised hand first, and then I'm going to address the questions in the chat. So Francisco, I just unmuted you, so go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay. I got you had clarified, I guess, select beneficiary are those that we're looking at for continuance. I guess my question as you were talking was, is there a section in there regarding, let's say I have multiple beneficiaries. I'm leaving my funds, I guess, for siblings. So I have 5 siblings. Is there somewhere I could identify that?
As far as seeing what that benefit will look like, there's not an option to add beneficiaries in the portal, but as far as, let's say that you're leaving your siblings as your primary beneficiary when you do want to retire, unless you are planning to do a customized calculation, we're leaving a continuing benefit to each of those beneficiaries, which is an option 4. The only other option that you could do is option 1, where it will leave them something if there's anything left in your contributions bucket, but it won't display the amounts broken down because it's based off of what's left in your bucket after your death, if that kind of makes sense, rather than a continuing benefit.
Sure, I got it.
Yeah,
I guess
the portal won't allow you to add more beneficiaries, unfortunately.
that's
like
okay. I got it. And this is just based on the continuance. But I guess the question is, I did have this in my own life experience where I had a brother unexpectedly passed away. And it took us forever, I mean, over a year's time to figure out how to get his benefits for who he left it for. Is there just a direct number or information where, and what information would my siblings need to reach out to for Sarah?
So the easiest thing is to contact our office and report the. So normally the process that the beneficiaries can do is call our office or email us and report the death. So once we get notification of the death of the member, then we have a process to where we look at the member's account and we contact who we have listed as your beneficiaries. We contact them. We send them out a letter, certified mail, displaying, hey, we were notified of this. This is the documents that we need to help close the case. So on your end, the best way that you can help your siblings in case something does happen is make sure that you have their contact information up to date with us. So their address and their phone number, because that's going to be super important. So just make sure that we have those updated because then once if we do get notification of that's the first thing we go to is we look who the beneficiaries are and we draft a couple of letters to send out to them based off of the address that we have from them. But also they can also call us as well. And if they are the named beneficiary, when they call and report that stuff, we can give them that information and tell them what the process is as well.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So that one question is not about the portal, but I will get to that. Final compensation, I will get to that. When we run the calculation, should we include any buybacks that we have purchased in the years of service area? So if you've purchased buybacks, if you have purchased service credit, when you run your benefit estimates, it should be included in the calculation if you've already if the purchase has been complete. And I'll show you where to check on that in just a second. Okay, Sydney, my screen shows my spouse relationship as other. Does that matter, or should I request to change it? It doesn't matter right now because it doesn't matter right now because you can in the portal you can also, and I didn't mention this as well. See how in the spouse area or in the relationship area you can make the drop down anything here, so you can change that to spouse and put it in for a calculation to see what your estimate is. Then when you come in and go through the process of retirement, we can update that for you. But we also you might also want to make sure that we have a copy of your marriage certificate and spouse's birth certificate and stuff as well, because we will need that. But yeah, for estimate purposes to run in the portal, it does not matter. But we can always update that if you want us to as well. Just let us know. Okay, so I'm going to run a quick calculation here to kind of show you guys how this all works. So if you look at here, So we're going to do the earliest retirement date. So I have that selected here under the drop-down menu, and then I have my spouse as my beneficiary listed here. So I'm going to hit the orange button here that says continue. Now, when I do that, now look what happens. It takes me to a new screen here. And now it shows you my calculation of what my benefit potentially can look like if I retire my earliest retirement date. Now, in the system, based off of this dummy account, this member is able to retire today if they wanted to at age 52 with almost 6 years of service. So you'll see your vital information here. So you'll see your retirement date, your termination date, things like that. And we'll show you your current years of service used for eligibility. Then if you scroll down here under estimated total monthly benefit amounts, these show the different benefit amounts for the different options that we offer. The unmodified, option 1, option 2, depending on who your beneficiary is listed, when you run the calculation, you may see an option 3 there as well. The option 4 calculation that if you've been in previous webinars of mine that I have mentioned, is not listed in the portal because that option 4 is a customized actuarial calculation that we have to send to our actuary to do. So that type of a calculation cannot be done through the member portal. Now, as you guys can see here too, estimated total monthly benefit amounts, under each option, it does give you a description of each option of how that works for you, also what that can do for your beneficiary. And as if you guys see here under total monthly benefit amounts, if the beneficiary that you have selected there that you're using to run these estimates is eligible for continuance for certain benefits, it will show you what the continuation amount is for that beneficiary right there. Also here, while it gives a brief description of the options here, you can click the hyperlink here for the member handbook. It will take you to our website, to the digital copy of our member handbook, and it will also show you the more details about the options as well. So this is a pretty easy explanatory thing on how to use the member portal. Pretty nothing too extreme here. And now what the other cool thing you guys can do as well is if you guys scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page here, there's a calculation summary report. So if you guys click on that, it generates a calculation summary for you of, hey, okay, this is FCERA employee number 1. If they wanted to retire tomorrow or today, excuse me, this is what their benefit looks like potentially. You know, this is what their options are. This shows what your final average compensation is. That's the final average compensation amount for this member based off of a 3-year high average, because this member is classified into tier 5. Each tier has different calculations of their final comp. But yeah, you guys can actually generate a estimate page like this to print if you would like to. So that's pretty much how you kind of just run an estimate here in the member portal. Now, I do have to tell you guys as well, and I mean, you guys know this as well, because if you, like I mentioned, if you guys have been in other webinars that I've done, I always state this as well. Whenever you're running something in the member portal that is calculation related, it's always an estimate until the retirement specialist gets through and audits your file. So while yes, these numbers are pretty accurate if you were to call our specialist and they ran it for you in their pension software right now, they still look over your file and audit it prior to having that counseling session with you when you go through the process of retirement. So just keep that in mind, that these are still considered estimates until everything is finalized. Now, that was just to run a calculation for earliest retirement. So I'm going to go back here, and then simple thing too is like you could do specify date. Let's say I want to retire on November or September 1st of this year. You could just drop in the date right there, hit continue, boom. Now it will run the calculation for the retirement date of September 1st. So you guys can have all those options right there to change earliest retirement date or specific retirement date. Now, let's see, who asked that question? So the question about should you include buybacks into your calculation. So you guys see here at the top, after you have ran a calculation, there is the orange box here that says edit calculation information. So let's click on that. So now you can actually edit your calculation. So if you're asking if like you need to add in your service credit purchase, If you've already purchased service credit and the purchase has been completed, it will be displayed right here. Right here. Now, a cool thing is, you guys see this additional amount here. You guys can actually add service credit here to see what your benefit will look like if you purchase that time. So if we end up going back here to the under the calculations tab to the service purchase area right here, and we click on that, you notice that this member has their new hire period, their first 2 weeks of employment ready to purchase of 0.0384 service credit. We can actually add that to the calculation to see what the benefit looks like. So click on that. I'm going to do earliest retirement date. So running the earliest retirement date for this example here, their unmodified option is $296. Oh, let's just say $297. Let's just say that. Okay. But if I edit the calculation and then I scroll down here to add service and I put in that available service credit that can be purchased, let's say I buy that and see what happens. I put that number here and then I can hit recalculate estimate. Hit that button right there. Boom. Now it gives me a new number. Yeah, the number went up a little bit, but it does increase the benefit there. So it does give you options to kind of play with the portal and see if you were to purchase any available time, what that does for your benefits. So this, guys, will help you tremendously to plan if it's even worth purchasing that service credit that you may have available to you. Another cool thing about this edit calculation section here is that you can change the beneficiary to edit the calculation if you want. Here's another cool thing. Override termination date for active employees. So let's say that you know that you don't want to retire yet until age 62. Let's just say, just because that's the age that you want to retire. But you know that you're leaving county service or FCERA employer service like a couple years prior. So you can actually change this here to specify a termination date to say, hey, I'm leaving as of 4/21/22. Let's say today's my last day. And let's say that I want to retire on 9/1/22. Okay. So you could put the termination date saying that today's your last day and then that you want to retire in September and then run the calculation. So what this is going to do is this will run the calculation for you of what your benefit will look like, but it won't include service credit that you did not earn because you left employment on the 21st of April. So if I click on recalculate estimate here, see, it's going to show my years of service around a little under 6. And it shows that my benefit did increase a little bit. But it stops the service credit after my term date. So this is a good way to utilize the portal to kind of see what your benefit will look like if you fall under that category of potentially leaving employment early, but you don't want to retire yet. So that's a good tool that you can do. The other thing here is override final average compensation amounts. So everybody's going to have a different final compensation, obviously, because it's tied to your pay and also what tier that you're in and how it's calculated. This member's tier is tier 5. So for tier 5 members, we look at your 3 highest year averages, 3 highest consecutive years that are averaged. So this is what this example is for this member, this FCERA employee. If you know that you're going to get a promotion to a new position, step increase and stuff or whatever that is, and you want to guesstimate what your final average compensation will be, you can just throw in another amount here to see and play with that and see how that increases your benefit. So you could put like 5,200 here, and that bumped up my pay here, a little bit more. So there's different ways, different customizations that you guys can do. Now, the final average comp, they're strictly guesstimates because you don't know what your final comp is going to be until you're ready to retire, because then we look at your pay and everything like that. But this is a good way to know, to kind of guesstimate to see what it is. If you know that you're, if you're a tier 1 employee, for example, we take your highest year pay. If you know that your next promotion or whatever is going to be your highest pay, then you can kind of guesstimate and throw that in the portal to see what you're looking at. So a lot of people don't know about that when they're running benefit estimates in the portal, but that's a really good customization here for your benefit here to kind of see, to mess with and stuff. So like I mentioned, it's pretty It may seem it's intimidating, but I promise you guys it's not. It's really not intimidating. You guys can all do this. It's very, very user-friendly in my opinion. You guys can handle this. So other than that, that's really the reclassification or the reclassification. I cannot talk. The calculation portion, the recalculation portion here. So let's see. I have a question from Jason. All right. Give me 1 second here, and then. All right, go ahead, Jason. What's your question?
Yeah, Jared, thank you very much. This is a good thing you did. I've been with the county for almost 27 years as of this Sunday next week, and I'm 52 years old. And I would just I don't know if I could get access to this website because I don't know if I have a password for it yet. I haven't really done much with it. I want to know for one thing, a tier one for one thing. I have about 1,300 hours of lead time, which is when you accumulate annual leave each paper, and you build up to 600 hours. Well, I have 550 hours. Plus, I have another 800 in my bank. How much of this will I get in my retirement when I do retire? If I do, yeah.
So that is a loaded question. The easiest answer I can give you is you'll need to contact employee benefits because they handle everything annual leave related. Because there's multiple annual leave plans in the county, each one's a little different. If you have hours specifically, and I got to be very careful with how I word this, but if you have hours specifically in the time off bank, those hours have no cash value. So those hours can be converted to service credit. Now, those hours that can be converted to service credit, like the time off bank hours, we don't get those hours from HR until after you have retired. So once you have retired, we get the document listing those hours from HR probably a couple weeks after. And then once we get that, we make an adjustment to your benefit, and your benefit will see that adjustment starting with your third monthly check that you get from us. But I recommend calling employee benefits at 600-1810 to ask this, just to confirm what hours that you have. Because like I mentioned, there are multiple annual leave plans in the county, so I can't speak for one. But call employee benefits. You can talk to David Joseph. He's very knowledgeable. He's the go-to guy for me that I talk to about this stuff. So I definitely recommend reaching out to them to ask that question.
Yeah, I just want to add that because I'm at the point where I need to figure out where I stand when it comes to retirement. I'm not going to retire next week or so, but I want to know where I stand, and wanted to see if I could get a way to use this website. I don't know if I have access to it. I haven't really used it, so.
Okay.
Can I send an email on that, or?
Yeah, just send an email, and then we can verify if you have an account or not.
Yeah, because I can't remember if I have an account that's active right now. But anyway, that one I want to address right now. I know you have other questions I want to say, but I just want to say thank you very much. It was very helpful for me. Thank you.
My pleasure. Sure. Just send me an email with your work email, and then we can look into that for you.
Okay, is it to your direct name, or is it just for Sarah, or is it just?
You can send it to FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, or you can send it to my email as well. It doesn't matter. I basically handle the webmails too, so either one.
Okay, great. I just want to see if I can get this active for me. So thank you. I will appreciate that. I'll give you an email sometime today or tomorrow. Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jared.
Right. So let's see. All right. Let's see here. All right. All right, Kate, before I answer some of the questions in the chats, that's really it for the demonstration. There's not a lot to it. That's really it. So you guys, this is being recorded and will be uploaded, so you guys can go back and watch it. But, if you have any questions, feel free to always reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you guys with that. So feel free you can always email me, call me, whatever that may be. If you call me and I don't answer, just leave a voicemail. I promise I'll get back to you because I'm probably doing another call or something like that. So just, feel free to reach out. Okay, so let me get through some of these questions in the chat because I know I've been kind of putting them off here. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Mezen. I apologize if I'm butchering your name. That is not associated with the webinar. The question is associated with the income used to calculate retirement. Is it the last 26 pay period for retirement or the highest pay history that is not within the last example classification change? And the pay rate is lower what you're earning, like I was earning. Okay, so this all depends on what tier that you're in. If you were a tier 1 member, we look tier 1 member, for example, we look at your whole history of pay, and we look for the highest 26 consecutive pay periods at any point in your career. That is how your final average compensation is determined to help calculate your retirement benefit. The other cool thing, the other cool thing I forgot to show you guys, actually, now that you brought that up. If you guys look at your calculations when you run them and you print out the estimate here, you can actually scroll down here and you can see what final average compensation period that we're using to calculate your final compensation. So you guys can actually see what we have. And that's based off of the imports that we do get from the county and the other employers. So you guys can actually see what your final average compensation period is and how that number was derived. So, okay. Why is the final compensation for tier 1 different from the total monthly benefit? The two numbers differ greatly on the member portal calculation. Also, is the why is the final average compensation for tier 1 different from the total monthly benefit? So I guess the best way I can answer that is, so tier 1 final average compensation is your highest year pay or 26 consecutive pay periods, however you want to put that down. Depending on your other characteristics, it's going to be different than your monthly benefit, because the final average compensation is only one of the factors that we use to is one of the few factors that we use to calculate your benefit, along with age and years of service. So if you're thinking that why is your final average compensation is not matching your monthly benefit, it matches that when the member has hit what we consider 100% of their final compensation, meaning that they are 100% of their salary if they have reached a certain amount of years of service along with age. Also, is the number under the monthly benefit amount only FCERA amount, excluding Social Security? No, yes. So it's only your FCERA amount. Everything that you see in the member portal is FCERA related only. It does not have anything else in it. It is FCERA related only, so no Social Security, no nothing like that. Is the account transferable? Is this account transferable to another agency? That depends on what the accounts technically, if you're going to the private sector, you can technically withdraw your contributions and roll them over to another qualified account. But if you're talking about another California public employer, let's say if you go to the state under the CalPERS system or another county like Tulare County, you can establish what is known as reciprocity, which is linking the two systems together. And I will actually be having a webinar about reciprocity next month. But here, actually, I'm going to show you, this is our YouTube channel, guys, so you guys get to see all that here. I'm going to link that in the chat for you guys here of our YouTube channel. Has all my webinars that I've done on there, so you guys can go back and look at that stuff. That's actually where this recording will be posted as well. But yeah, there's a webinar in there about reciprocity. You might want to take a look through that that I did last year. But I will be doing that reciprocity webinar again next month, I believe. I don't know if you guys see the newsletters that we put out on our website here under FresnoCountyRetirement.org. If we go to newsletters here, for the spring issue that we released, I actually listed all the dates here for the upcoming webinars. Now, all these dates are still tentative, but I'm pretty sure they're going to hold on to. Same with the topics. So, be looking out for my emails that I send, all county and all things like that. So that will be out there for you guys. My goal as your communications analyst for the membership is I want to make this process as easy and as stress-free for you guys as possible. I know how retirement is the next big step, and you guys want to have all that stuff. Me being a former retirement specialist, I understand everybody's concern. So now that I kind of have more of a broader chance to put out this type of a content, this is what I want to do for you guys, to make sure that put down as much educational stuff out there for you guys to help you make the most informed decisions that you can. Okay, so let me get back to, let's see here. Let's see if I answered everything here. If we want to buy our prior service, can we just pay for it all at once? So yeah, when you submit a service credit purchase, and that's actually another great question, because there's a service credit purchase webinar on my YouTube page right there, on the FCERA YouTube page. But yes, you can. When you submit a request for a service credit purchase, once that has been complete, you will get a contract in the mail detailing all the available time that you can purchase, along with the due date, the options, and the different payment options. So one of the options always is you can pay a lump sum payment of that. So yes, that is definitely possible. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna end that share here. Let me actually, so that was the member portal thing really quickly here. So there is something, I do want to mention a couple things here before you guys get out of here. I know we're almost done here, but I really appreciate you guys sticking around here. I do want to drop something in the chat for you guys really quickly here. So just give me 1 second and let me pull this up here. So I do this all the time with my webinars because frankly, I just want to hear from you guys. I need to know how good these things are or what you guys like to see. So I have a survey here. If you guys wouldn't mind just filling that out and just giving me feedback about today's webinar and stuff. What I'd like to, if you guys have any other questions, even, any other questions that I can answer quickly, just throw them out here in the chat or, raise your hand. I'd be more than happy to answer them. If you guys are, that's really it for my portion of the presentation and everything. Now it's just basically Q&A if you guys have questions. So if you guys don't have any questions, you don't want to stick around, feel free to go enjoy the last few minutes of your lunch and stuff like that. I do appreciate you guys hanging out here today and learning about this stuff. I do hope you guys find this stuff helpful, especially during the lunch hour, because I know it's very difficult sometimes to figure out best times to do webinars. And I know some people say, well, I'd rather do it after work. I want to take time off. A lot of people seem to like to do it during the lunch hour because, it's just easy. So if you guys like that stuff, just, please let me know. Another thing too, as well, I don't know if you guys have been seeing in the for county employees, we do have a couple special district people in here, but county employees, if you guys have been seeing emails from Nationwide doing their Save Today campaign starting next week. They're doing webinars through the week, and they're going to be at different sites next week. I'm going to be participating in one of the webinars on Monday, talking a little bit about your FCERA benefit, but I will also be on site at a couple locations next week. So if you guys happen to be at that location, you guys want to talk, have any questions, feel free to come out, say hi. Tuesday, I will be at the Pontiac building. In the morning, I will be at ITSD. Afternoon, I'll be at DSS. Thursday, I will be at the Plaza building from 9 to 12, and then I'll be at the Hall of Records from 1 to 3. And then Friday, I think I will be at the sheriff's office in the morning from 9 to 12. So if you guys happen to see me out there, just come say hi. I'll have some forms out there. I'll be able to answer any questions that you guys have, stuff like that. Okay, so let's see here. So that's okay. So Kuljit asked the question, how accurate are the calculations or estimates that the portal generates? Are they pretty close to the actual benefit once it's calculated? They are pretty close. Yes, they are pretty close. There's always a chance that the data can change because the estimates that you run in the portal are prior to a retirement specialist auditing your file. So there's always a chance that it can change. I would say though they're more than accurate. If they do change, it's not a dramatic change. It's a few dollar change or stuff like that. But for the most part, they are pretty accurate. I appreciate that, Melinda. Yeah, I like these lunch webinars as well. It gives you guys access to that. I am trying to figure out other ways to do it. Some of my other webinars that are 2 to 3 hours long, those are going to have to be during work time where you may have to take annual leave unless I do it after work hours, but that might be cutting into your evening and stuff. So it's a balance, it's a balance. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you guys are finding this stuff informational. That's the point of doing these things, because before this position, we never really did stuff like this. So it's like, I'm glad to be able to provide this type of information to you guys. So I will say that the next webinar for us is tentatively scheduled for May 19th, I believe. May 19th about reciprocity. So I will be sending out something to that probably in a few weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Send an email to FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov. We're always here to help. If there's no more questions or anything, I hope you guys enjoyed the member portal presentation today I had for you guys. Feel free to, check out the recording on our YouTube later on. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or FCERA. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for. So that's it for me. That's the presentation. So I hope you guys really found that useful. I hope to see some of you guys next week when I'm out at those job sites. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your lunch and have a great rest of the day.